studio in beautiful Irving, Texas. And yes, it is that time. You can hear in the background. You're going to hear it over the next couple of hours. March Madness is in full swing, and to discuss all things madness, an old friend and a wonderful March Madness mind. I always specify the sports. He knows many other sports, but nothing gets him going like March Madness. Old buddy, old friend, Manny from KC. Welcome back, man. Welcome back to the airwaves of Radio Azad. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me back.
Of
Really excited to be here.
Yeah, baby. It is exciting times. I mean, March Madness just wouldn't be the same without you. So welcome back. We're gonna give Manny to our listeners in small doses. Small doses. We are. I'm happy. I'm excited to have you here with us for the next 22 minutes now until the 10:30 break. So let's dive in. Let's get into it. Hope you've been doing well. It's Eid time as well. I mentioned on the little reel that I put out there a few minutes ago. So Eid Mubarak to you, your family, to all your loved ones, and everybody out there. As I always say, the wonderful thing about Eid is, what is it about? It's about enjoying your loved ones, enjoying your family, enjoying your friends, enjoying your neighbors, and taking care of those in need. All of those things. So it's the Eid time, the Eid vibes. They're for everyone. Most of the religious type celebrations, what I always say is, happy vibes for that particular event for those who celebrate. But I think Eid is the intent behind Eid, the reason for Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha is so universal that I send those vibes out to everybody, whether you celebrate or not, because it's all good stuff. So hope everybody, all of our listeners out there, are enjoying it, having a good time, and let's get into the crazy times. March Madness got going.
Yeah.
What
do you think, man? How do you like the game so far?
I'm pumped. Hey, I'm trying to figure out why it sounds like your audio might not be coming through as strong. I'm going to adjust some of the equipment here while we're doing that. Maybe get that going. So far, what do I think? It's not as mad as maybe years past. Here we are, 2 years in a row, no 13, 14, or 15 seed advanced beyond the first round. I had some look. I had VCU not only winning that first game, but actually going into the Sweet 16. I had high hopes for VCU. That didn't come to fruition. But
Illinois is a good team. You were expecting a lot. I mean, Illinois is a very deserved number 3, and VCU is a good team as well. It was just I think they went up against a good team out of the Fighting Illini there. So
they did. Look, Illini really showed up. What I want to do is let's. I know you're a KU guy, and hey, congratulations, KU won round 1, and they've got a game coming up.
Barely.
I think
almost lost it towards the end. That nice little lead we had.
Well,
but I'm glad we're on to play today.
But that's part of the madness, right? That's part of the madness because look, Duke may very well end up winning it all, but they almost lost in round 1 to a 16 seed. They were down double digits at halftime. I think it was 43-32.
I was going to actually steal one. That would have been amazing if they did. They played a great game, but at the end of the day, Duke is just a stacked team with not just the Twins. I mean, they have a lot of players on there, a lot of depth.
They do. I mean, they're absolutely stacked for sure. But let's talk about KU. Let's talk about other teams from the Big 12. I know that's your neck of the woods. You follow that all season long. So I want to hear your thoughts on the Big 12 overall, and then KU and their chances.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, we're in Duke's bracket. I personally was talking to a friend of mine, college roommate from from Kansas, and we were talking about how the East, the bracket that we're in with Duke, there's a lot of good teams that KU has to contend with. So I think, for instance, you're looking at teams that we're going to be playing from the TCU, for example. They had a really, really good outing as well. So Big 12 has really held their own. I'm counting on obviously Arizona and Houston out of the Big 12 to make it far. But certainly, I hope KU can get past in their bracket as well.
Yeah. So you mentioned Arizona, and I want to come back to Houston in a little bit.
Yeah.
I really, really think Houston's a team to worry about, who's going to contend. But Arizona started off like gangbusters this season, and then they had that lull. I think they lost, was it 3 straight games? And it was it was looking a little questionable, but they righted the ship. They got going again. What are your thoughts on Arizona and their chances to be cutting down the nets?
I think they're very good. I mean, other than Duke, I mean, Arizona has only lost 2 games all year.
So it's
it
2
wasn't
straight.
a three-game slide that you were mentioning. They've only lost 2, and one of them was to KU. But no, I think Arizona is my really my favorite to win it all. If I wasn't hoping for KU to win, which I hope every year, whether we're number 1 or we're really never lower than a number 6 or something. I've never seen us that low, thankfully. But yeah, no, I'm thinking Arizona is my favorite. I know Duke is the overall number 1, but I think, I mean, the other teams in Florida, I mean, they're defending champion, and I know they didn't do so well in their own turn before the March Madness, but they are actually a good team as well, because never doubt the heart of a champion, right? They're defending champ, and until someone knocks them out, I wouldn't count them out. But they're all deserved number 1s this year. You know, Michigan as well. So it'll be really interesting. But I think out of the Big 12, other than KU, Houston has a really good shot. I mean, they were in the finals last year against Florida and lost. So I really expect them to do well as well. And they've really done. You saw yesterday how well they played.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, they look like beasts out there. So speaking of Houston, so let's get into it. On Thursday, they beat Idaho. I mean, look, it's a 15 seed. Houston, you expected that. You expected them to take care of business, and take care of business they did, especially that suffocating defense that they put up there. 78-47, they beat Idaho. And ho-hum, you're like, they did exactly what they were expected to do. So it didn't raise any eyebrows, didn't stand out. But boy, then they turned around yesterday and they suffocated a pretty good Texas A&M offense there. Held them to 57 and hanging 88. So they actually beat them. The point difference is exactly the same. They gave up 10 more points. They scored 10 more points. But to me, that victory over Texas A&M, beating them by 30 points, 31 points, really stands out and, sends out a warning to the rest of the field that Houston's on a mission. Houston's on a mission. They lost in the championship last year, but I think they want to get back to the Final Four and make some noise.
Absolutely. Coach Kelvin Sampson, I mean, I think he's a future Hall of Famer, possibly, once his career is all said and done, just missing a ring. And yeah, he's got a great team with Sanak. I mean, he's unstoppable, man. That guy is counting for a double-double, right? And then you've also got Sharp and Uzan. They had great games as well. 18 points for Sharp and 15 for Uzan. I mean, basically that team is more than just Sanak. They have amazing defense. They really do not let you get easy buckets at all, and they have a great turnaround game as well once they're coming back with points. So I'm really excited to see them go far. But yeah, Duke, like I said, they made it past Siena. I think they're going to be counted on. Someone that we can expect hopefully down the line. KU will meet up in their bracket.
Yep. This is more of an SEC conversation, but historically, Texas had been such a big part of the Big 12.
Yes.
They surprised me I actually had BYU beating Texas in the first
Yeah,
round, and they not only did they come through against BYU, you know,
player of the year possibly. I mean, in terms of NBA, like Venezia, I mean, he's projected number one if it's not Darren Peterson. So yeah, they knocked him out the first game, and for them to beat the Zags yesterday, I mean, that's huge, man. That's a team we don't like to see because Mark Few has them going deep every year. So they're really not to be messed with. So that's probably the upset so far, right?
well, yeah, Mark Few is not the only one. I had them going deep. I had them going to the at least the Elite Eight. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I had them in the Final Four, but I had them going to the Elite Eight, and here we go, not even getting to the Sweet 16. Gonzaga once again, but yeah, Texas just they're not. So both games. Now look, they were the lower seed. They were up against a good competition in both these games, BYU and then Gonzaga. So I didn't necessarily expect them to blow them out, but these were tough, hard fought games. But it felt like, what was it? BYU was 79-71 that Texas won, Gonzaga 74-68.
Yeah.
So they were close, hard fought games, but it felt like Texas kind of had it in both games, right? I mean, it felt farther apart than the final score. It felt like they were the better team out there.
Yeah, no, when they're clicking, I mean, they've got some offensive players. I mean, that Camden Hyde, he's a 3-point specialist, man. From anywhere on the line, he can shoot threes from both corners. So to take down the Zags, I mean, that was a team that was 31-4.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were really. I think I had them going in at least till the Elite Eight as well. And so yeah, I think this Texas team, if they get hot, man, and they're shooting offensively like they are, their threes are going in, they'll make a run past the Sweet 16, which they're finding themselves in this year. So it's been a great season for them so far.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right. Is TCU in the Big 12?
Yes.
They are, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about that game, the way it played out. And I know they've already had that second game, but I want to talk about that Ohio State game on Thursday. Ohio State TCU. The final score was 66-64, but it was a tale of two halves. TCU started off hot. I mean, they had a 15-point lead at the halftime. And then the second half was all Ohio State winning 40-27, but coming up just short. How did I thought I was actually having this conversation with a few folks, and I was sure that Ohio State was going to win this one and possibly win big. How did TCU get that done against Ohio State?
It was a late layup, if I remember the highlight. I didn't watch that particular game, but it was as Xavier Edmonds had with 4 seconds left, he just ran through and made a layup, and then Ohio State was not able to score in the end. It was definitely a close game. The momentum definitely shifted with Ohio State coming back from that big lead that TCU had. 15 points in the first half. They covered it, and it was really close, but really, at the end of the day, it came down to a nice layup with 2 seconds left from the guard there at TCU. But, yeah, they went on to lose to Duke, as you saw yesterday. So, like I said, Siena just so far was the only team that kind of matched up with Duke so far. And other teams that are going to be playing, which will be the winner of KU and St. John's today, which they're going to need to come with that similar energy, because whoever wins between KU and St. John is going to be hard pressed to try to win against Duke. Man, Duke had their scare out of the way, and now they're going to be playing up to that Final Four caliber. But St. John's is not easy to get past. Which
man,
I mentioned to my buddy Zuby, their star player, is actually a former KU player. He didn't get much playing time, but now he's the Big East Player of the Year and got St. John's. Not only the regular season, but also the tournament champion. So they have a lot of momentum as well. And my team is going to have a tough game against St. John's today with old Rick Pitino.
Yeah, I was going to say, not to mention one of the best college basketball coaches. I mean, at this point, he's proven. Shep and I were discussing it last week, but it's just he's done it so long with so many different teams, so many times. It's just you just can't count him out.
Yeah, 2 Hall of Fame coaches. I can't wait to watch that.
Yeah. I would not be surprised if St. John's pulls that off. All right, let's before we move on to the next game and the next team, let me tell our listeners real quick about our good friends over at Freeman Toyota. March Madness is here at Freeman Toyota. March Madness is everywhere, man. For a limited time, enjoy extra incentives all month long. First come, first served. Drive home a brand new 2026 Toyota with rates starting at just 2.99% APR with approved credit. Even better, the Toyota BZ Electric comes with 0% financing plus great deals on the 2025 Toyota Tundra. Looking for lower monthly payments? Well, lease to own a Toyota starting at just $249 a month, and the all-new 2026 RAV4 Hybrid is here. Call now and receive a complimentary $500 off just for reaching out. Call Muhammad Ahmed today of Freeman Toyota at 214-404-4156 and get all the details and secure your deal before these March Madness offers are gone. And you know, the thing about March Madness is as quickly as it comes, it goes away just as quickly. I know Thursday and Friday, especially with that the plethora of games just coming at you one after another, feels like it's a lot. But man, before you know it, you're in Sunday, and the 32 field is getting shrunk to 16, and then there's the lull of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the Sweet 16 is done. By next Saturday, things really quiet down when you have those Elite Eight games going on. But it feels like it's a lot of it's a huge field. It's a lot of games, but boy, it goes away pretty quickly. But this first weekend is just so exciting. Been doing it for all these years, and still that excitement just you can't compare it.
Doesn't go away. I mean, look at the game that Kentucky won. You know, you thought they were going to lose, and then they come around with that 3, and you're jumping in your living room going, wow, you know, you may not be a Kentucky Wildcat fan, but that ending, you know, makes you like love this game.
Yep, so, that 35-foot 3, banking it home to tie it. It was insane stuff. All right, let's get back to the Big 12, and one of the really under the radar Big 12 teams, Texas Tech Raiders. You know, they did. Yeah, they were in that dangerous 12-5 matchup with Akron. Now, I didn't think Akron had a shot. I advised everybody to pick Texas Tech, but still to win that one, 90-71, pretty convincingly. How much noise do you think Texas Tech is going to be able to make here?
I mean, they've made noise. I mean, the fact that they won convincingly. Now, I know Akron was a 12 seed and Texas Tech is a 5 seed, but they won convincingly, and I think Alabama is going to have their hands full here when they play with them later today. It's a great 4-5 matchup. And yeah, Texas Tech can put points up, man, while also stifling you with their defense.
Mm-hmm. All right. Is the crown jewel of the Big 12 then Arizona? I mean, they just absolutely demolished LIU is Liberty, right? I think it's Liberty International. If I remember correctly, just absolutely demolished them. Kind of toyed with them in the second half because the first half was so big. They were up 53-29 and then kind of coasted, which seems a little ridiculous to say, coasted to a 92-58 victory. But, I mean, that's what good teams are supposed to do. Do you see them advancing to the championship game? Do you see them cutting down the nets?
They certainly have that ability this year. I mean, they've got length, man. That's the one thing people don't always match up with them, they have those two twin towers, and they basically also have the guards that can shoot the threes. They've had games where they've damn near shot from the logo. One of I can't remember what's the guy named Braden, their point guard. So they have both good point guard play and really tall, lengthy center and power forward. So they'll give anyone trouble. And the fact that they're 33-2 right now tells you that other than Duke, they probably should be your favorite to go to the championship.
Yeah, I think. Look, I want to make sure I don't miss. Oh yeah, Iowa State is also Big 12, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Come on. Open Coliseum gives the Jayhawks trouble every year we go there.
Well, they're going to give a lot of teams a lot of trouble this year. They just absolutely demolished Tennessee State, 108-74, and looked really, really good doing that. I mean, it's just the Big 12 is just stacked, and of course, the Big 12 has 16 teams.
We did, and BYU, like I said, I expected them to go a little further with the star player, but yeah, we do have 16 teams and a couple of good additions. Like I said, in Arizona, Houston, and BYU, they are good in both football and basketball every year.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right. Well, one thing I wanted to, man, I was talking about the March Madness moving so quickly. So has this segment. We're down to the last 2 minutes. Manny, it's wonderful to have you back. I hope to continue to hear from you as your schedule allows. But the last couple of minutes, the last minute, what I want to get into is your prediction now. Let's, last year was all number ones advanced to the Final Four. I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen, but who do you count out? Right. I think the weakest of the four might actually be those defending champs, Florida Gators, but that's not a knock on them. That's a knock on how strong the other ones are. Michigan, we haven't even talked about, just such a beast with those, again, that length, as you said, right? I mean, they've got that 7'4" center coming off. I'm forgetting his name right now, but coming off the bench, you've got their starting center is 6'11" or 7. I was watching that Big Ten championship game with Purdue, and I know Purdue pulled it off and beat Michigan, but man, it seemed like a mismatch out there. If it weren't for the heart of that point guard for Purdue, who just refused to lose, it just seemed like a mismatch. They're so big, so talented, and I just don't see any of the ones losing it. As I said, the only one that I can see as slightly weaker than the other two is Florida. So how do you see that playing out?
Yeah, no, good point. I think all the ones are really good. Duke, I think, definitely should be expected. Kansas is going to have a handful if they get past St. John's today. I see Duke going forward from that bracket. I think you're absolutely right about Michigan. I don't know anyone in their bracket that can stop them from getting to a Final Four. I have Houston coming out from the South. And so basically I have Duke, Houston, and also I have Michigan and Arizona from the West. So
sounds like we're in agreement.
There, if they can get past Duke, but that's my Final Four prediction.
Yeah,
and I think Michigan is definitely one of them.
Okay, well, it sounds like we're in agreement. The weak link here between those four is Florida, but again, as I said, that's not a knock on Florida. That's just a knock on how strong the other three ones are and how strong a field is with your twos and the threes. I mean, this is a strong field, and I think you're right. This tournament is going to be closer to form, just like last year. It's going to be the high seeds. I mean, we've already seen it in the first 3 days. I think this is going to continue. Those top 1 through 4 are just so strong. So talented. The only upsets we see is kind of like what you called out, Houston advancing as the 2 seed. And we'll see. It's going to be exciting times. All right, Manny, we're over by a minute or two, but wonderful to have you back, man. Looking forward to many, many more conversations. Hey, don't mean to put you on the spot, but next week, March Madness.
Absolutely. Rock Talk, baby. We'll always be there.
All right, Manny.
Always a tournament. You can expect the Jayhawks there.
Always a pleasure, man. Wonderful to hear you on the airwaves of Radio Azad on the Sports Spotlight. Looking forward to conversing more next weekend. Have a wonderful day.
Sure.
All right. That was Manny from Kansas City. And with that, we're going to take a short break. This is going to be a short one. And then Shep's going to be joining me. After that, we're going to get into more NCAA kind of from the SEC side of things. You're listening to the Sports Spotlight right here on Radio Azad.
Radio Azad.
Download the free Radio Azad app on the App Store or Google Play to listen worldwide.
क्या आप हर पल को यादगार बनाना चाहते हैं? तो डीजे विश प्रोडक्शन से जुड़ जाइए। छोटी पार्टी हो या बड़ी शादी, हर इवेंट के लिए हैं स्पेशल पैकेजेस। LED वीडियो वॉल्स, LED डांस फ्लोर्स, डांसिंग ऑन द क्लाउड्स, ऑडियो रेंटल्स और स्टेज सेटअप, सब कुछ मिलेगा यहाँ। मेहंदी से ग्रेजुएशन तक हर लम्हा बनेगा खास और इनका लाइव सिंगिंग सेटअप महफिल को 4 चांद लगा देगा। तो फिर देर किस बात की? कॉल करें 253-632-4556। DJ Wish Productions. Dance on the rhythm.
ठंडी ठंडी आइसक्रीम, चॉकलेट हो या स्ट्रॉबेरी, मैंगो चीकू लीची, स्मूदी शेक या कुल्फी, फलूदा या कोल्ड कॉफी, ठंडी ठंडी आइसक्रीम।
Kids has the best ice cream, waffles, crepes, kulfi, faluda, and boba tea in town. Dine in, take out, or live on-site catering. It's a hit each time. Call 972-673-0285 or visit their locations in Plano or Frisco. More information at kedsicecream.com. Kids, scoop it on.
Kind Home Loans is your Dallas mortgage lending partner.
Big news, rates are down. Now's the time to refinance and lock in savings before the market shifts again. Depending on your mortgage amount, you could save